What's good, everybody? This is your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet, and I am black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. So, this video is basically just a thought that came to me the other day, and the thought was that too often we as black people will give white people or other non-black people extra credit and A's for effort for literally nothing. Like if we see or witness a non-black person do something that is kind of close to what black people do, then we'll just give this person all types of credit and, as the saying goes, invite them to the cookout, right? And what prompted me to think about this and start, going down this path, I've thought about this before, but very recently I saw a video where they were interviewing a lot of these former black basketball players from, the 80s and 90s. And these Negroes were literally sitting there telling a story about Larry Bird. If you don't know who Larry Bird is, he was a very popular white basketball player back in the day, especially during the 80s. He played for the Boston Celtics. But they were sitting talking about Larry Bird, and they made such a big deal because I guess one of these guys went backstage or in the stadium somewhere, was looking for Larry Bird and found him in the shower room, and he was smoking Newports. And he was kind of just laid back and just smoking some Newports, right? And you would have thought Larry Bird at that point had become king of all black people based on these Negroes' reaction and also the reaction of other black males in the comments section, right? So just because this white male was sitting back smoking some Newports, which is quote unquote thought of as something that only black people do, I guess he gets street cred or gets some sort of credit, or he's down now, or he's cool now, or he's one of us now because he smokes Newports. And when I sit and saw that, I was like, this is dumb as hell. And it's very ignorant for adult black males to be acting like this. But this is not new. I see this all the time on social media. And it's really stupid when I see that. And when I see stuff like this, I think to myself, this is how black people get duped so easily and get sucked into so many things very easily. And then, like, when the stuff goes left, we're sitting around with our lips poked out, wondering how this white person could betray us. Well, it wasn't that they betrayed us, it's that you assigned all of these great things to them only because they did something that you elevated them for. Another great example of this, obviously, is Eminem, because Eminem can somewhat rap, even though the subject matter and the style of rapping that he does is not all that great. It's definitely not original, and it's definitely not. It's a lot of times it comes off as soulless. Like, for a lot of black people, I don't see how a lot of black people can say they feel Eminem's music. You know what I mean? Like, you might like it, you might, and it's always interesting when I hear people break down his lyrics. They always break down maybe the number of metaphors, or maybe, how he squeezes or twists words around and stuff. It's always very technical. I never hear "I felt that," or "that line really got to me. That verse was something very special to me. It meant something." You know what I mean? Now, when you talk about a black rapper, like if I could talk about a rapper like DMX, I can tell you I've felt the lines that DMX has given. Even though DMX wasn't super technical, he was very talented and a lot more talented than people give him credit for. But I feel DMX. There are times that he spit lines that touched me in a way like where I can relate to that, or I can at least I get a lot of emotion from the feeling that he gives in his music, right? So that's kind of like what I'm talking about. But once again, you'll have Negroes kind of assign all of these great things to this white guy just because he raps, and it's always been that way when you see, the white guy that can dance or the white guy that can sing somewhat, right? Uh, people say, well, they assume that he must be down with us, or, the white guy that uses slang, or the white guy that, preaches like a black preacher or something like that. People always, too many times our people will just automatically assign all these great things to this white person just because. Like I saw this one video recently where apparently there's this older white male in Memphis, I think, who walks around in tank tops and flip flops, and I guess he has like some white cornrows and likes to hang out with ghetto black people. He likes to smoke and drink and whatnot. And apparently black people love him because he's hood like them. I actually think his nickname is White Folks. And then black folks seem to just love him, right? And I made the comment and no one seemed to appreciate it on the video where I said, well, a lot of you Negroes in this area will wonder who is stitching on you, and you'll blame other black people, but it's probably white folks right there. It's probably this older white male that you let hang around in your circles. You let him smoke weed with you and drink with you and feel on black women's butts and whatnot. And, he's probably, he could easily just be an informant and talk to the police. Or he might just be pretending to be down with black people. It's because like that's how easy it is to infiltrate black circles. All you have to do is pretend that, hey, I like drinking Hennessy. I like smoking Newports and blunts. I'm down with black people. You don't even have to be black to be an undercover agent. You could just be a white guy who pretends that he likes all this stuff, and dumb Negroes will let you in the circle, and then you'll wonder who is snitching. It's the white dude, right? And it's like, what? Like, who else could it be? But these fools will just automatically accept this one guy just because, right? And that's why I always say that when I hear people say nonsense like black people are racist or bigoted, not true. Black people will let you in for whatever. Black people are extremely accepting. In fact, we're too accepting. I wish there was a situation where black people were more racist and push people more to the outside. But we'll accept anybody. Even like these ridiculous, goofy, woke black liberals who talk all this nonsense about white people. They love white people. They're usually sleeping with a white person, right? Or they got some white person in their circle. But, like it's always, just over elevating the white people just for whatever reason. Okay. And I'm not saying you have to disrespect them. I'm not saying you have to hate them, but let's be a little bit more realistic about these things. Like I try to treat everyone the same, right? And if I see a white dude coming up to me talking about yo, 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 and all this other stuff, I look at him like he's crazy. I was like, you don't have to do all that. In fact, I try to avoid guys like that because usually those guys are trying to infiltrate and trying to be some sort of, counter agent for me or something like that. I don't even like being around guys like that because it just seems whack. It seems phony. It seems rehearsed, and I'm definitely not going to elevate somebody like that. It just is what it is. Like, you can be that if that's really your personality, but that doesn't mean, I'm going to worship you or think you're cooler than the average white boy just because you act like that. I guess that's just your personality. I'm not going to assign anything great to you for that. Okay. And like I said, I just think it's weird. And like I said, now we have this whole debate now about, who invented hip hop and who was there at the beginning. And the truth of the matter is, if, the reason we even have this discussion or have this issue now is because black people are always so welcoming and we just let everybody in, for all the nonsense that people will say and say that black people are racist or bigoted, we let everybody into hip hop, we let everybody into jazz, and then these people will come into these musical art forms and then they'll just take it over and push us out, right? And then we're wondering, like, what happened to our music? Why are these people saying they're the inventors of our music? Or why do only these white artists get credit for our music? Well, it's because, Negro, you let them in there. You let them in there, and then not only did you let them in, you elevated them, and you said, well, they're white, but they can do music like us, so they're the greatest. You know what I'm saying? You want that acceptance so bad. You want these white boys to be the greatest MCs, and you wanted white people to be the best DJs and whatnot, because that way you felt that you were getting some acceptance if you elevated them somehow, and it's ridiculous. And then you wonder where your art form went to, and why it was taken away from you. That's why, because you let them in there in the first place. That's why they're able to do that. So I mean, you folks, let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. I'd like to hear your opinions on this thought that I've been having. Anyway, this is Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on the devil's back.